16-year-old
Mom's in danger.
Ethan's
We
hands
have
shook
to help
as he
her.
typed
Stay
the
away.
message.
This doesn't concern
His
you.
mother's screams echoed from the living room, where
Mom's
three
in
men
danger.
had her cornered.
We have to help her.
They were
Stay away. This
collectors
doesn't
for
concern
someone his
you.
mom owed money to, money she'd borrowed to pay for his medical treatments last year. "Please, I need more time," his mother begged. "Time's up," one man growled. Ethan had locked himself in his bedroom like his mother had shouted at him to do. But he couldn't just hide, couldn't just listen to her suffer. He scrolled through his contacts desperately. The police? They'd take too long, if they came at all. This neighborhood wasn't their priority. His finger stopped on a number he'd gotten last month. A man at the convenience store had given him his card after Ethan had accidentally witnessed something he shouldn't have. "If you ever need help, real help, call this number." Ethan had thought the man was joking. The card had no name, just a number. He typed quickly, "They're hurting my mom. Please, anyone, help." Then he added his address and hit send. The message showed as delivered. Then, seconds later, as read. Ethan held his breath, waiting, praying anyone would respond. He had no idea what he'd just started. Ethan pressed his ear against his bedroom door, straining to hear over his own thundering heartbeat. His mother was crying now, not screaming anymore, just quiet sobs that somehow felt worse. "Last chance," one of the men said. "Where's the money?" "I don't have it, I swear. Give me 2 more weeks." The sound of something crashing made Ethan jump. He checked his phone again. The message still showed as read, but no response. Was anyone even on the other end? Was this number even real? "Please," Ethan whispered to himself, "please answer." His mother's voice came again, stronger this time, despite the fear. "My son is in the next room. Don't let him see this, please. Then you better find the money fast. We'll be back in 3 days, and next time, we won't be so patient." Footsteps moved toward the front door. Were they leaving? Ethan wanted to rush out, but fear kept him frozen. What if they weren't really leaving? What if they hurt his mom worse for him interfering? His phone buzzed. One word appeared. "Address?" Ethan's fingers flew across the screen, typing their apartment number, building, street, everything. Another buzz. "Stay in your room. Don't come out. 5 minutes." The message included no name, no explanation, just a command. And somehow Ethan believed it. Someone was coming. The question was who? 7 miles across the city, in a glass office overlooking Seoul's glittering skyline, Kang Ji-woo set down his whiskey. The private phone on his desk had buzzed, the one that only 12 people in the world had access to, and 3 of those 12 were dead. He never expected a message from an unknown number. The phone was supposed to be untraceable, unlisted, impossible to reach unless someone gave it to you directly. "They're hurting my mom. Please, anyone, help," followed by an address. Jiwoo's expression remained unreadable as he studied the words. His assistant, Min Jae, noticed the shift in energy. "Sir, problem? Run this address." Jiwoo forwarded the message. "Tell me who lives there." Min Jae typed rapidly on his tablet. Within seconds, information appeared. Apartment 304, Building C, Hanam District. Registered to So Yeon-hee, single mother. 1 son, Ethan Seo, age 16. The name stopped Jiwoo cold. So Yeon-hee, his jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "Are you certain?" "Yes, sir. Why? Do you know her?" Jiwoo stood abruptly, grabbing his jacket. "Alert Team 3. Send them to this address immediately. No delays." "Sir, what's the situation?" "Someone's making a mistake. They won't survive." Min-jae had worked for Jiwoo for 8 years. He'd never seen this particular look in his boss's eyes. Not anger exactly. Something colder, more personal. "How serious is this?" "Serious enough that I'm going personally. Move, now." Jiwoo sat in the back of his Mercedes as it cut through Seoul's nighttime traffic like a blade. His driver knew better than to ask questions. The address on the message glowed on Jiwoo's phone screen. So Yeon-hee. He hadn't heard that name in 15 years. Hadn't allowed himself to think about her in almost as long. But he'd never forgotten. How could he? She'd saved his life when he was 22, bleeding out in an alley after a deal gone wrong. No one else would touch him. Everyone knew who he was, what he represented. Getting involved meant danger. But she'd found him. This nursing student taking a shortcut home. She'd stopped, helped him, never asked for anything in return. "Why would you risk this?" he'd asked as she bandaged his wounds with supplies from her school bag. "Because everyone deserves help, even people like you. People like me, dangerous people, scary people. She'd smiled softly, but still people. He'd tried to repay her, offered money, protection, anything. She'd refused everything. "Just promise me something," she'd said. "What?" "If I ever really need help, the kind of help normal people can't give, you'll come," he'd promised. Then she'd disappeared, changed her number, moved, made it clear she wanted nothing to do with his world, and Jiwoo had respected that, had left her alone despite the strange pull he'd felt toward her kindness, until tonight, until her son had sent that message to the number Jiwoo had given to very few people, a number that was meant to stay secret. "Faster," Jiwoo said quietly. Jiwoo made 3 calls during the ride. The first was to Min-jae, find out who sent collectors to that address. Name, organization, everything. The second was to his head of security. "I need Team 3 at the Hanam location. Secure the building. No one enters or leaves without clearance." The third call was the most important. He dialed a number he rarely used, direct line to one of the few people in Seoul's underground who could give him instant information. "It's Jiwoo. I need intel on a collection operation. Hanam District. Single mother. What family claimed that territory?" The response came quickly. "That's Jung territory. Small time. Loan shark operations." "Who authorized collection tonight?" "Probably Jung Taewon's crew. They've been expanding into that district. Why?" "Because they just made a terminal error in judgment. Spread the word. Anyone connected to this collection backs off now." "Jiwoo, if you're getting involved in Jung's business." "I'm not involved in his business. I'm protecting someone under my personal guarantee. There's a difference." He hung up. The city's underground communication network moved faster than official channels. Within minutes, people would know that Kang Jiwoo had claimed protection over someone in Hanam District. The smart ones would back off immediately. The stupid ones would push back. Jiwoo almost hoped they'd push back. It had been a while since he'd reminded people why you didn't cross him. 2 minutes out, his driver said. "Good. Go around back. I don't want them to see us coming." The collectors were still in Yeonhee's apartment when Jiwoo's team arrived. 3 men, low-level muscle who probably had no idea who their boss was messing with. They'd never seen Team 3 work before. Never understood what real power looked like. Team 3 didn't knock, didn't announce themselves. Just disabled the apartment, building security cameras, and entered through the service entrance with keys that opened any door in the city. The lead operative, Han, communicated through subtle hand signals. They moved like smoke through the hallways. Silent, efficient, terrifying. Jiwoo entered the building through the main entrance moments later. No rushing, no obvious urgency. Just a powerful man taking a walk through a building he now owned, though the landlord didn't know it yet. He'd made a call during the drive. By the time he arrived, the building's deed was being transferred to a shell company he controlled. Yeonhee would never pay rent again. Outside apartment 304, Jiwoo paused. He could hear voices inside. Male voices, aggressive, and one female voice, strong despite fear. That voice. Even after 15 years, he recognized it. "Last warning," one of the collectors said inside. 3 days. Then we take collateral." "What collateral? I have nothing left." "You have a son. Smart kid. Could work off your debt." The words hung in the air for a second. Then Jiwoo opened the door. He didn't knock, didn't announce himself, simply turned the handle and walked in like he owned the place. Because in every way that mattered, he did. Yeonhee was standing in her small living room, back against the wall, facing 3 men who seemed too large for the space. Her apartment was modest, clean but worn, showing years of careful stretching of limited resources. Photos of her son covered one wall. Report cards, certificates, evidence of a mother who'd built a life from nothing. The collectors turned as Jiwoo entered. "Who the hell are you?" one demanded. Jiwoo ignored them completely. His eyes found Yeonhee. She looked older than he remembered. Lines of stress around her eyes, but still her. Still that same quiet strength that had compelled her to help a dangerous stranger in an alley. "Yeonhee," he said her name softly. Her eyes widened. Recognition flickered, then disbelief. "Jiwoo?" The collectors looked between them, confused. "You know this guy?" Yeonhee didn't answer them. She was staring at Jiwoo like she'd seen a ghost. "How did you? Why are you?" "Your son sent me a message, asked for help." "Ethan?" Her voice cracked. "He has your number?" "Apparently. We'll discuss how later. Right now." Jiwoo finally looked at the collectors. You're going to leave. We're not done here, the lead collector said. She owes money. No, she doesn't. Whatever debt you think exists just got paid in full. That's not how this works. You can't just, I can, and I did. The debt is cleared. You leave now, or you don't leave at all. Something in Jiwoo's tone made even the dumbest collector pause. They looked at each other, uncertain. Our boss won't accept this. Then your boss can call me. I'm sure he has my number. Go, now. After the collectors left, slowly, reluctantly, but they left, silence filled the apartment. Yunhee sat down heavily on her couch, shaking. Ethan, she called toward the bedrooms. You can come out now, baby. A door opened. A teenage boy appeared, tall, thin, terrified. When he saw Jiwoo, he stopped. Did you? You sent the message? Jiwoo asked. Ethan nodded. A man gave me his card last month, said if I ever needed real help. Lee Sang-min, my street lieutenant, he must have recognized you as Yunhee's son. Jiwoo's expression softened. You did the right thing, calling for help. I didn't know where else to turn. Ethan looked at his mother. Mom, are you okay? I'm fine, just scared, but fine now. She stood, moving between her son and Jiwoo protectively. Ethan, go to your room, please. But, now. The boy obeyed, though he kept glancing back. Once the door closed, Yunhee turned to Jiwoo. Why are you here? After 15 years, why come now? You saved my life once, made me promise to help if you ever needed it. Your son activated that promise. I never wanted to pull you back into my life. That's why I disappeared. I know, I respected that. But Yunhee, your son has my private number. Do you know how few people have that? How protected that line is? She shook her head. I don't know anything about your world anymore. I tried to stay away from all of it. Then let me explain something. That message tonight? It didn't just reach me. It registered in my security system, which means now there's a record, a connection. Anyone looking will see it. What are you saying? I'm saying you're not invisible anymore, and I need to know what happened. Why do you owe money to the Jung family? Yunhee's story came out slowly, painfully. Medical debt from when Ethan had been sick 2 years ago, lost job because she'd taken too much time off, desperation leading to a loan from the wrong people. I thought I could handle it, she whispered. Thought I could pay them back before it got bad. But the interest is designed to trap you. I know how these operations work. Jiwoo's jaw was tight. How much do you owe? 30 million won. I've paid back nearly that much already, but the interest keeps growing. 30 million. That's nothing. To you, maybe. To me, it's impossible. Jiwoo pulled out his phone, made a call. Transfer 30 million won to. He looked at Yunhee. What's the name of the loan shark? Jung Tae-won. Transfer 30 million to Jung Tae-won's accounts. Mark it as final payment for So Yunhee's debt. And attach a message. This debt is cleared. Further collection attempts will be considered a personal insult. He hung up. Done. Yunhee stared. You can't just, I can't let you. You can, and I did. Yunhee, you once stopped in an alley to save a dying stranger. You risked everything for someone you didn't know. Let me do this much. But now I'll owe you. You owe me nothing. I owe you a life. This is just interest on a very old debt. Before she could respond, his phone buzzed. Sir, we have a problem. Jung Tae-won is refusing the payment, says the debt is personal now. He's mobilizing his people. Jiwoo's expression went cold. Then we have a bigger problem, because now he's challenging me directly. Outside, 3 black cars pulled up silently. Jiwoo's Team 3 had secured the perimeter while he'd been inside. Now they stood in a loose formation, 12 men who looked like they could dismantle a building with their bare hands. Jung Tae-won's crew arrived 10 minutes later. 7 cars, maybe 30 men. They clearly hadn't gotten the memo about who they were dealing with. Or they'd gotten it and decided to push back anyway. The lead collector from earlier stepped forward. We're not leaving. Boss says the debt stands. Your boss is making a terminal mistake, Han said calmly. I suggest you call him again. We don't take orders from... He stopped. A final car arrived. This one was different, a luxury sedan that screamed money and power. Jung Tae-won himself stepped out. He was younger than Jiwoo, maybe 35, dressed expensively but without the quiet confidence of real power. Kang Jiwoo, Tae-won said, didn't expect to see you personally involved in a small debt collection. Then you should have done better research. The woman upstairs is under my protection. Has been for 15 years. Your collection operation ends now. With respect, that's not how this works. She owes me money, which I paid. Transfer went through 10 minutes ago. Debt cleared. Money isn't the issue anymore. She embarrassed my organization by making us chase her. That has a cost. Jiwoo's expression didn't change. What cost? She works for me now, 3 years. That clears the debt and the disrespect. No. The word was final, absolute. That woman works for no one. She's free. You'll accept payment and walk away. And if I don't, the tension ratcheted up. Both sides understood what was happening. This wasn't about money anymore. It was about power, respect, territory. Then you declare war, Jiwoo said quietly. Against me, personally. Is 30 million won worth that? Jung Taewon was young enough to be stupid and old enough to know better. But pride made people do dangerous things. You can't claim every person in this city, Taewon said. What makes her so special? She saved my life. That makes her worth more than your entire organization. One woman? You'd really go to war over one woman? Test me and find out. Jiwoo took a step forward. Not aggressive, just present. I'm going to give you one chance to walk away. Take the money, clear the debt, forget this woman exists, or push back and discover why people don't challenge me. The two groups faced each other in the parking lot, neither side moving. Then Jiwoo's phone rang. He answered without looking away from Taewon. Yes, it's Chairman Park, Min-jae's voice said. He wants to speak with Jung Taewon. Says it's urgent. Chairman Park was one of the real powers in Seoul's underground. Old money, old connections, the kind of man who could end careers with a phone call. And he was calling about this? Jiwoo handed his phone to Taewon. It's for you. Taewon took the phone suspiciously. Hello? Whatever he heard made his face go pale. The conversation was brief, one-sided. Taewon mostly listened and said, yes, sir, several times. He handed the phone back. We're leaving. The debt is cleared. My apologies for the misunderstanding. Smart choice, Jiwoo said. As Taewon's crew departed, Min-jae approached. What did Chairman Park say to him? Probably the truth, that So Yeon-hee saved my life 15 years ago, that touching her means challenging me, that I consider her family. You just made a public declaration. Everyone will know now. Good. Let them know. Let every organization in this city understand she's untouchable. After the confrontation ended, Jiwoo returned to the apartment. Yeon-hee was standing by the window, watching the cars leave. Ethan was beside her, still processing everything. What did you do? Yeon-hee asked. What I promised, kept you safe. By starting a war? By preventing one. Yeon-hee, do you remember what I asked you that night, in the alley? She was quiet for a moment. Then, softly, you asked why I would help someone like you. And you said everyone deserves help, even dangerous people. Jiwoo moved closer. You gave me that help without asking anything in return. The least I can do is return the favor. But you called me by my name, my full name, out there, in front of everyone. She turned to face him. Jiwoo, you used the name I had before I disappeared, before I changed everything about my life. I know. How do you know that name? I erased it. No records. No traces. Jiwoo was quiet. Then, because I never stopped looking for you. After you disappeared, I spent years trying to find you, not to bother you, just to make sure you were safe. Why? Because you showed me something I'd forgotten existed. Kindness without agenda. Help without expectation. You treated me like a person when everyone else saw me as a monster. You're not a monster. I've done monstrous things, but that night, looking at you, I wanted to be better. You made me want to be better. Yeon-hee's eyes filled with tears. I thought leaving would keep you safe from my world, but you pulled me right back in. Not me, your son. And Yeon-hee, I'm glad he did. The shock of recognition hadn't fully faded. Yeon-hee sat down slowly, memories flooding back. That night, I never thought I'd see you again. I tried to find you. For 3 years, I searched. Then I realized you'd hidden deliberately, so I respected that, left you alone. But you kept the promise. Always. Jiwoo crouched in front of her, meeting her eyes. Do you know why I keep my promises? Because you taught me that. One night, one act of kindness, it changed how I saw everything. I just helped someone who was hurt. That's all. No, you helped someone who everyone else would have let die. You risked yourself for a stranger. That's not just anything. That's extraordinary. Ethan had been listening from the hallway. Mom, you saved his life? It was a long time ago, baby. How long? Ethan asked. 15 years, Jiwoo answered. I was 22, stupid, made enemies I couldn't handle. They left me bleeding in an alley. Your mother found me, saved me, disappeared before I could properly thank her. Why did you disappear, Mom? Yeonhee looked at her son. Because I was pregnant with you. And I knew if I stayed connected to Jiwoo's world, you'd grow up in danger. I wanted better for you. But now we're in danger anyway. Those men tonight won't bother you again, Jiwoo interrupted. I made sure of that. And Yeonhee, you need to understand something. By sending that message to me, by activating the connection, everything changed. You can't go back to being invisible now. What are you saying? I'm saying you're under my protection now, officially, publicly, which means you're safe, but also means you're marked as mine. Anyone who wants to challenge me might look at you. So I traded one danger for another. No, you traded uncertain danger for certain protection. There's a difference. Later that night, after Ethan had finally gone to sleep, Yeonhee and Jiwoo talked on the small balcony. The city stretched before them, lights like scattered diamonds. Tell me about the promise, Yeonhee said. The real reason you came tonight. Jiwoo was quiet for a long moment. When you saved me, I was ready to die. Not just physically. I'd lost faith in everything. People, purpose, the idea that anything mattered. Then you appeared. This stranger who owed me nothing, risking everything to help me. I'm a nurse. It's what we do. No, nurses in hospitals help. You stopped in a dangerous alley, alone, to save someone everyone knew was a criminal. That's different. That's choosing to see humanity in someone who's forgotten they have any. So you made me a promise. I made you a promise because you gave me a reason to live. Not just survive, live. I built my entire organization on that principle. Protect those who can't protect themselves. Honor debts. Keep promises. All because of one night with you. I had no idea. You weren't supposed to. I tried to find you to tell you, but you'd vanished. I respected that. Thought maybe it was better if I stayed away. Until tonight. Until your son sent that message. And I realized I'd been waiting 15 years for you to call on that promise. Hoping you would. Hoping you'd need me, just once, so I could prove I meant what I said. Yeonhee looked at him. You've carried that promise for 15 years? Every day. It's why I gave my number to select people in your neighborhood, hoping one day somehow you'd use it. That's Jiwoo. That's obsessive. I know, but I keep my promises. What Jiwoo didn't tell Yeonhee, his intervention had already triggered responses across Seoul's underground. 3 rival organizations were now watching, calculating, trying to understand why Kang Jiwoo would publicly claim protection over a nobody. It's a play, one boss said during an encrypted call. He's using her to test our responses, see who's weak. Or she's actually important to him, another suggested, which makes her a target. If we take her, we control him. In a luxury apartment across the city, someone else listened to these conversations. Someone who'd been waiting for any sign of weakness from Kang Jiwoo. Finally, Park Sang-do muttered, finally, he cares about something. Sang-do was younger than Jiwoo by 5 years, but more ambitious by miles. He'd been building his own organization in Jiwoo's shadow, waiting for the right moment to challenge the older man's dominance. What do? His lieutenant asked. We watch, we wait. We gather information about this woman and her son. And when the moment's right, we take them? No, we make Jiwoo choose between protecting them and protecting his empire. No man can do both. Back at Jiwoo's office, Min-jae delivered a troubling report. Sir, we're picking up chatter, multiple factions discussing the woman. Some are curious, some see opportunity. Expected. What's your threat assessment? High. Park Sang-do in particular seems interested. He's been looking for leverage against you for years. Let him look. He'll find that leverage against me is suicide. Sir, with respect, you've just declared someone precious to you. In our world, that's weakness, I know. But Min-jae, consider the alternative. If I'd done nothing, she'd be dead within a week. This way, at least she has a chance. And you? What happens when Sang-do makes his move? Jiwoo smiled. Cold. Dangerous. Then I remind everyone why I'm still the one they fear. The betrayal came from inside. 2 days after the confrontation with Jung Tae-won, one of Jiwoo's mid-level officers approached him privately. Sir, I need to question your judgment. Jiwoo looked up from his desk. Speak. This woman, So Yun-hee, you've made her a public target by claiming protection. Some of the men are asking why. Why risk organizational stability for one person? Because I owe her a debt. Debts can be paid with money. You've already cleared her financial obligations. Why go further? Because I choose to. That's not an answer. It's the only answer you'll get. Is there a problem with following orders? The officer hesitated. Some of us feel you're compromising the organization's security, making emotional decisions instead of strategic ones. And what would you suggest? Distance yourself. Make it clear she's under general protection, not personal. That removes the target from your back. Ji-woo stood slowly. Let me make something absolutely clear. That woman saved my life 15 years ago. She asked for nothing in return, disappeared to protect her unborn child, built a life through impossible circumstances, and the first time she needed help, her son called me. You think I'm going to turn my back on that? I think you're putting all of us at risk. Then you're free to leave. Anyone who questions my decision is released from obligation, no repercussions. But if you stay, you accept my choices. All of them. The officer nodded stiffly. Understood. After he left, Min-jae entered. That was Officer Choi. He's been meeting with Park Sang-do's people. I know. Let him. I want to know who else is questioning my authority. You're using this as a test. Everything's a test, and Yun-hee deserves protection regardless of who disagrees. Ji-woo called a meeting. Every major player in his organization. Over 50 people in a private room that swept daily for surveillance. I'm making an official declaration, Ji-woo began. So Yun-hee and her son Ethan are under my permanent protection. This is not negotiable, not temporary, not situational. Anyone who threatens them threatens me directly. The room was silent. Then one lieutenant spoke. Sir, what's your relationship to this woman? She saved my life, long ago. That creates a debt I won't ignore. But the risk to our organization is mine to manage. I built this organization. I run it. I make the calls. If anyone disagrees, leave now. No one moved. Good, because there's more. I'm establishing a new protocol. Yun-hee and Ethan get protection detail, round the clock. Best people, and I'm creating a fund, 3 million won monthly, to ensure they never struggle again. Sir, someone else said carefully, this level of involvement suggests more than just repaying a debt. It suggests I honor my word, something I expect from all of you. Dismissed. As people filed out, Chairman Park approached. He was the only one who could speak to Ji-woo as an equal. You're painting a target on her back. I'm making her untouchable. There's a difference between protection and possession. Which is this? Ji-woo met his eyes. Protection. I don't own her. I'm ensuring she's safe. And if she doesn't want this level of involvement, if it overwhelms her normal life, then we adjust. But she gets protection whether she wants it or not. That's not negotiable. Park nodded slowly. You care about her. More than a debt. Admit it. I care about keeping my promises. That's all anyone needs to know. But it wasn't all. And Ji-woo knew it. The response came faster than expected. Within 48 hours of Ji-woo's public declaration, 3 organizations backed off completely from any operations near Yun-hee's neighborhood. Jung Tae-won issued a formal apology, rare in their world. Park Sang-do went quiet, which was more concerning than aggression. When Sang-do goes silent, he's planning something, Min-jae observed. Let him plan. He'll find I've prepared for any move he makes. But the real change happened on the street level. Suddenly, Yun-hee's apartment building became the safest in Seoul. No crime within 3 blocks, no harassment. Even petty criminals avoided the area. Mom, it's weird, Ethan said one evening. 3 guys tried to fight me at school today. Then one of them saw my address and they just stopped, said sorry and walked away. That's Ji-woo's influence, Yun-hee said quietly. The entire city knows you're protected now. Is that good or bad? I don't know yet. But Yun-hee noticed other changes, better job offers appearing. Suddenly her resume was getting responses. A scholarship appeared for Ethan, anonymous donor, full funding. He's doing this, Yun-hee said when Ji-woo visited that evening. Pulling strings. I'm removing obstacles. There's a difference. Ji-woo, I appreciate the protection, but I can't let you run my life. I'm not running your life. I'm making sure you have choices, real choices, not just survival. By controlling my circumstances, by creating opportunities, you're smart, capable, You should have had these chances years ago. I'm just correcting the imbalance. And what do you want in return? Jiwoo looked at her directly. Nothing. Except maybe the chance to be in your life. And Ethan's. Not as a boss. Not as protection. Just as someone who cares about what happens to you. The honesty in his voice stopped her protest. 3 weeks after the initial message, Yeonhee and Ethan sat in their apartment, which Jiwoo had quietly upgraded to a better building, better neighborhood. Mom, can I ask you something? Ethan said. Always. Do you like him, Mr. Kang? Yeonhee paused. It's complicated. Because of his job, what he does. Because he lives in a world I tried very hard to escape. A world I didn't want you exposed to. But he's protected us, more than anyone else ever has. I know. So maybe it's okay to let him be in our lives? Yeonhee pulled her son close. Maybe. But Ethan, I need you to understand something. Jiwoo's world is dangerous. Real danger. Not like TV. People die, disappear, get hurt. If we let him in completely, that becomes our world too. But we're already in it. The moment I sent that message, we became part of it, right? He was right. Her brilliant, too perceptive son was absolutely right. That evening, Jiwoo arrived for dinner, something that had become a weekly occurrence. Yeonhee cooked, Ethan set the table, and they ate like a normal family. Except nothing about this was normal. I have something to tell you, Jiwoo said. The situation with Jung Tae-won and Park Sang-do is resolved. Permanently. No one will bother you again. How permanently? They've both accepted that you're under my protection. Challenging that would be suicide for their organizations. So yes, permanently. And what about us? Yeonhee asked. What happens now? Do you just watch from a distance? Keep protecting us silently? That depends on you, on what you want. I want my son safe. I want a normal life. Normal is relative, but safe I can guarantee. And if you want normal, I'll do everything to make that possible while still keeping you secure. Yeonhee took a breath. And if I wanted more than that, what then? 6 months later, the city had learned a new rule. Don't touch So Yeonhee or her son. Ever. Not because of fear alone, but because Kang Ji-woo had made it clear they were his family now. Not possessions. Family. Yeonhee had accepted a position at a prestigious hospital, her skills finally recognized. Ethan was thriving in a better school, no longer afraid of threats or violence, and Ji-woo had slowly, carefully become part of their lives, not as a boss, not as protection, but as something else, something neither he nor Yeonhee had fully defined, but both were learning to navigate. Do you regret it? Ethan asked his mother one evening. Regret what? That night. Helping him, starting all this. Yeonhee thought carefully. No, because helping him was the right thing, and everything that came after, the good and the scary, that's just life. We handle it together now. With him. That night, Jiwoo stood on a balcony overlooking Seoul. Min-jae joined him. The Sang-do situation is fully resolved. He's backed down completely. Good. And the woman? Yeonhee, what's the long-term plan? Jiwoo smiled slightly. No plan, just protection, presence, whatever she'll allow. That's not like you. You always have plans. She taught me that not everything needs to be calculated. Some things you just let happen. Below in the city, life continued, but everyone who mattered knew the truth. Kang Ji-woo had a weakness now, a real one. But it wasn't a weakness. It was humanity, and he'd defend it with everything he had. The message that started a mafia war had ended with something unexpected, a family. Chosen, complicated, and absolutely protected, and the city would never forget it.